The HOA president slapped a violation notice on my son's police motorcycle and gave us 72 hours to remove it or she'd have it towed. What she didn't know was that my son wasn't just a cop. He was standing right behind her when she wrote the ticket. And by the time this was over, her clipboard and her power would be lying in the dirt. Act 2. The conflict begins. My name's Jack Mercer. I've lived in Hollow Creek for nearly 15 years. Quiet neighborhood, big oak trees, tidy lawns. My wife passed a few years back. So the garage, well, it's kind of like a time capsule. I don't park in there. I just can't bring myself to change it. That means my driveway is where I park. Nothing crazy, my truck. Sometimes my son Eli's motorcycle when he visits. And that motorcycle? It isn't some beat-up junker. It's an official police bike, black and chrome, department issued, clean as a whistle. One Saturday morning, Eli rode over after his shift. He parked the bike right by the garage, walked in for coffee. 10 minutes later, I hear this sharp click. Click, click! There she was, Karen. Well, her real name's Colleen Durrett, but everybody just calls her Karen. President of the HOA, mid-50s, bleach blonde bob, pearls like she's heading to Sunday brunch, and that ever-present clipboard. She was taking pictures of the motorcycle. Not just one, like 20. Different angles. Zoomed in. Flash on. Morning, I said, trying to sound polite. She didn't look up. This vehicle is a violation. Section 12C. No motorcycles parked in driveways. I laughed. Ma'am, that's a police vehicle. My son's a cop. Right on cue. Eli walked out with his mug of coffee. He pulled out his wallet, flipped it open, his badge glinting in the sunlight. Morning, he said calmly. Anything you need from me? Karen froze, her pen hovering over the violation slip. Then she forced this little laugh. Well, regulations are regulations. Badge or not, it's still an eyesore. She slapped the paper on the bike's seat like it was a legal summons, then marched off in her heels. I remember Eli shaking his head. Dad, these people, unreal. I shrugged it off. But deep down I had this sinking feeling. Karen wasn't done. Act 2, escalation and doubt. Sure enough, by Monday, her pictures were circulating in the HOA email thread. Words like dangerous eyesore and lowers property values. She even wrote that police vehicles should be kept out of sight. That's when the stories started pouring in. My neighbor Alvarez told me Karen fined him $100 because his trash can sat out 30 minutes past collection. Mrs. Ellison got slapped with a violation for holiday lights in January. People were paying up because they were scared, and I'll admit it got to me. That night, I sat in the garage, looking at my wife's old garden tools still lined up, her handwriting on a few boxes. Eli's motorcycle sat out front, gleaming under the porch light. I started to wonder, am I being stubborn? Maybe I should just move the bike. Maybe uniformity is worth it. For a minute, I felt weak, like maybe I should give up. But then I thought about my son. He serves this community, risks his life, and some HOA president thinks she can treat his motorcycle like a nuisance. No way. The next day, I got my break. Rita, the HOA secretary, stopped me on her morning walk. She leaned close and whispered, Jack, you should know something. Hollow Creek's HOA hasn't renewed its city certification in 2 years. Legally, Colleen has no enforcement power. I didn't believe her at first. But that night, I checked the city's database. Rita was right. No renewal, no certification, which meant every violation, every fine, every threat. It was smoke and mirrors. Karen wasn't powerful. She was bluffing. Act 3, climax and justice. Of course, Karen didn't know I knew. 2 days later, a certified letter showed up. It read, remove motorcycle within 72 hours. Failure to comply will result in towing and escalating fines. I almost laughed. This was it, her big move. So I gathered everything. The city records showing the HOA had lapsed certification, the ordinance I helped rewrite years ago as part of a civic board, testimony from neighbors, even receipts of bogus fines. I built a binder so thick it looked like a court case. Then came Monday morning. I heard the rumble before I saw it. A tow truck pulled onto my street, chains rattling. Behind it came Karen in her Lexus, window down, shouting orders like a general. Take it, she yelled, pointing at the motorcycle. Tow it out of here. The driver hopped out, grabbed his chains. Karen strutted up the driveway, clipboard in hand, her little army of board members trailing behind her. I stepped out with my binder, calm but loud enough for everyone to hear. I said, "Touch that motorcycle, and you'll be liable for executing an illegal seizure." The tow driver froze. Excuse me? I opened the binder, showed him the ordinance. This HOA has no active certification, which means this woman, I pointed right at Karen, has as much legal power as my mailbox. Karen went beet red. He's bluffing. I'm the HOA president. I took a step closer. Without certification, you're just a neighbor with a clipboard. For a beat, no one moved. Rain clouds started rolling overhead, the air tense. Then Rita stepped forward, resignation letter in hand. "I quit," she said loudly. "I won't be part of Colleen's lies anymore." Gasps rippled through the crowd. Alvarez and Ellison, neighbors Karen had bullied, spoke up too. "She fined us illegally. We'll testify." The tow driver looked at Karen, then back at me. He dropped the chains. "I'm not touching it. Not worth a lawsuit." He climbed back in his truck and drove off. Karen's mouth opened and closed like a fish. She dropped her clipboard onto the driveway, papers scattering in the wind. Without another word, she spun on her heels and stormed off. Her little army didn't follow. Closing beat. That afternoon, Rita filed an official complaint with the city clerk. By the end of the week, Hollow Creek's HOA enforcement was suspended, pending investigation. And just like that, Karen lost the throne she'd built out of fear. I walked out to the driveway that night. Eli's motorcycle gleamed under the porch light, calm and steady, not a symbol of conflict anymore, but of freedom. And I realized something. A power built on fear collapses the moment someone dares to speak the truth.